It took me a long time to understand this, that every relationship in your life is a mirror of how you treat yourself. The way people speak to you, the way they respect you, the way they value your presence. All of that starts with you. We often blame others for how we're treated, but the truth is people learn how to treat us by watching how we treat ourselves. Think about it. If you constantly doubt your worth, if you give and give until you're empty, if you tolerate disrespect just to keep the peace, you're teaching others that it's okay to do the same. You're telling the world, I don't deserve more than this. But when you love yourself, when you draw a line and say, no, I will not accept less than respect, that's when everything begins to shift. Loving yourself doesn't mean you become selfish or distant. It means you stop shrinking to make others comfortable. It means you stop apologizing for wanting to be treated with care. It means you stop begging for the kind of love you should be giving yourself every single day. So many of us walk into relationships thinking that love will heal us. We think, I find the right person, I'll finally feel complete. But here's the hard truth. No one can complete you. No one can fill the emptiness that comes from not knowing your own worth. That's your job. You have to be the one to look in the mirror and say, I'm enough, even if no one else says it. When you love yourself first, your energy changes. You start showing up differently. You walk taller. You speak clearer. You stop chasing validation because you already have your own, and that shift is magnetic. People can feel it. Suddenly, the ones who once took you for granted don't know how to handle your new strength. Some may leave, and that's okay, because those who cannot meet you at your level of self-respect were never meant to stay. When you raise your standards, you don't lose people. You lose those who were never meant to rise with you. The ones who truly care will adjust. They will step up. Because when you set the tone for how you deserve to be loved, the right people will follow that rhythm. I remember a time when I was so afraid to say no. I thought if I set boundaries, I'd lose people. I thought love meant sacrifice, giving everything, even when it hurt. But you know what happens when you give too much? You start to disappear. You wake up one day realizing you don't even recognize yourself anymore. That's not love. That's self-abandonment. And self-abandonment is the silent killer of peace. It's the quiet moment when you choose someone else's comfort over your own truth. It's when you silence your voice so someone else doesn't leave. It's when you carry the weight of a relationship alone, convincing yourself it's normal. But it's not. Loving yourself means you no longer tolerate one-sided love. You no longer settle for being an option. You no longer confuse attention with affection or control with care. You learn that peace is better than chaos, even if it means being alone for a while. The moment you realize that solitude is not punishment but power, that's when you become unstoppable. Because being alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means you're finally giving yourself space to breathe, to heal, to grow. It means you're choosing yourself not out of ego but out of love. When you love yourself, you don't chase, you attract. You stop begging to be seen because your light already shines too bright to be ignored. You stop proving your worth because you finally believe in it. You stop waiting for someone to validate your feelings because you've learned to trust your own heart. Here's the truth. Your relationship with yourself sets the foundation for every relationship you'll ever have. If you don't respect yourself, you'll tolerate disrespect. If you don't forgive yourself, you'll seek people who remind you of your pain. If you don't believe in your own value, you'll settle for those who don't see it either. But when you love yourself, really love yourself, everything changes. You become calmer. You stop reacting to every little thing. You stop explaining your worth to people who aren't willing to see it. You start protecting your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Self-love is not a destination. It's not a morning affirmation or a one-time act of kindness to yourself. It's a daily practice. The way you speak to yourself, the way you rest, the way you honor your emotions, the way you walk away when something no longer serves you. And let me tell you this, when you do that, your relationships transform. You stop settling for half love because you've tasted wholeness within yourself. You start building connections that feel like peace, not pressure. You start attracting people who love you not for what you can give them, but for who you are. The biggest lie we've been told is that love comes from outside of us. But love is an inside job. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't build something strong when your foundation is weak. The moment you start pouring love into yourself, genuine, patient, unconditional love, the people around you will start treating you differently. Why? Because you've changed the standard. You've taught them that if they want to be in your life, they must meet you where you are, not drag you back to where you used to be. You know what happens when you start truly loving yourself? You stop living on autopilot. You stop showing up in relationships as the version of yourself that pleases others. You start showing up as you, the real, raw, unfiltered you. And that's where freedom begins. For so long, many of us have been trained to believe that our worth depends on how much we do for others. that the more we give, the more we'll be loved. But the truth is, giving without boundaries doesn't create deeper love, it creates silent resentment. You begin to feel invisible, unappreciated, even empty inside, and no amount of validation can fill that emptiness if you're neglecting yourself. Self-love isn't selfish, it's survival. It's the quiet decision to stop abandoning yourself every time someone else needs you. It's learning to pause before saying yes and asking, does this serve me too? It's understanding that you can't be your best for anyone else if you keep running on empty. When you start honoring yourself, your time, your emotions, your energy, people notice. Some will resist. They'll say you've changed. They'll call you distant or cold. But that's only because your new boundaries no longer serve their comfort zone. Don't take it personally. Growth often offends those who refuse to evolve. When you love yourself, you no longer seek love as a form of rescue. You stop looking for someone to fix the loneliness or fill the void. Instead, you become whole on your own, and that changes everything. Because when you're whole, you stop depending on someone else to make you happy. You stop needing constant reassurance. You stop fearing that if someone walks away, you'll fall apart. Loving yourself builds emotional strength. It creates balance. You begin to understand that your peace is too precious to be shaken by temporary people or fleeting emotions. You learn to sit with your own company, to enjoy silence, to find calm in your own presence. That's power. The kind of power that can't be taken away, only cultivated from within. And when you bring that energy into your relationships, they evolve. You no longer love from a place of fear, fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of being alone. You love from a place of abundance. You give not to earn love, but because you already are love. You don't demand constant validation because your worth no longer depends on anyone's approval. Imagine walking into a relationship knowing you're already enough. You're not trying to prove your value. You're not bending over backwards to be chosen. You're simply showing up as your full, authentic self, confident, kind, and whole. That's when love becomes partnership, not dependency. That's when communication becomes honest, not filtered by insecurity. When you love yourself, your boundaries become clear. You no longer tolerate manipulation or emotional games. You stop accepting crumbs of affection when you deserve the whole meal. You stop mistaking chaos for passion. You start craving peace, because peace feels like home. And here's something no one tells you. When you raise your standards, the universe rearranges people around you. Those who were never aligned with your growth quietly drift away. It hurts at first, but that's not loss. That's space being cleared for what's meant for you. Every time you choose yourself, you make room for better things to enter your life. Loving yourself means forgiving yourself, too. So many of us carry guilt for past choices, failed relationships, or mistakes we made while we were still learning. But you can't grow if you keep punishing yourself for who you used to be. You can't step into your future while chained to your past. Forgive yourself. You did the best you could with what you knew then. And now that you know better, you'll do better. That's what self-love sounds like, not perfection, but compassion, not judgment, but grace. When you start speaking to yourself with kindness, your entire world softens. You stop being at war with your reflection. You stop criticizing every flaw, every scar, every misstep. You start realizing that your imperfections are proof that you've lived, that you've survived, that you're still here, growing. And here's something powerful. When you accept yourself, you give others permission to do the same. You teach people that love doesn't have to be earned, it just has to be nurtured. You create a safe space in your relationships where both people can grow, heal, and be real, without masks, without fear, without pretending. But remember this, self-love doesn't mean every day feels perfect. There will be days you doubt yourself, days you feel lost, days you question everything. That's okay. Loving yourself doesn't mean you never fall. It means you refuse to stay down. It means you pick yourself up again and again and whisper, I'm not done yet. Self-love is a lifelong practice. It's waking up every morning and deciding to treat yourself like someone worth caring for. It's making choices that protect your peace. It's saying no when something drains you. It's saying yes when something lights you up. It's choosing rest over guilt, truth over comfort, growth over approval. When you start living that way, people feel your energy shift. The right ones will rise with you, the wrong ones will fade. And you'll realize that love, real love, doesn't start when someone else arrives. It starts the moment you decide to stop abandoning yourself. Because when you love yourself first, you raise the vibration of every connection you touch. You attract people who mirror your energy, not your wounds. You attract relationships that feel calm, not chaotic. You attract love that adds to your peace, not takes from it. You'll start to notice that you no longer crave attention. You crave connection. You no longer want constant excitement. You want stability. You no longer chase validation. You crave mutual respect. And that shift, that's the moment your relationships transform. The love you give yourself becomes the standard for how the world will love you. And the more you nurture that love, the more you'll attract people, opportunities, and moments that reflect it back. Because at the end of the day, the most powerful relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. When that bond is strong, everything else falls into place. So love yourself first. Not after you lose weight, not after you achieve success, not after someone chooses you. Love yourself now as you are where you are, because the moment you do, you'll realize something profound. The love you've been searching for has been within you all along.